Ian Hudghton, Scottish National Party MEP, proposals from the European Commission for the quotas that fishermen will get in 2012. What do you make overall of their proposals?
Well, these proposals are just the start of the annual pantomime that we've become so accustomed to under CFP control, where we have yet again proposals which will inflict not just pain on the fishing industry who are active, particularly in the west coast of Scotland, but will actually cause discards, which is claimed to be the European Commission's top priority under CFP reform. So I think that we have a big argument to have and a major discussion to have on behalf of Scotland's fishing communities about these proposals.
You say they will actually cause discards. Why? Can you just explain?
Well, the ludicrous thing, or one of the ludicrous things about the Common Fisheries Policy is that the TAC and quota system doesn't measure how many fish are caught. It only measures fish that are landed. And what is being said here, that there can be no landings of cod from the west coast of Scotland. That means that any that are caught by accident as bycatch must be discarded. Similarly, a very, very restrictive proposal for haddock total allowable catch against a much, much bigger recommendation by ICES can only lead to discarding of over-quota fish. Totally contrary to what the Commission is saying with its CFP reform hat on. It's just nonsense that we again in Scotland are being asked to pay a penalty for the ineptitude of the European Commission over the years, for the failure of the Common Fisheries Policy just on the brink of supposed reform.
And according to the Scottish Fishermen's Federation, in their press release, it was saying that this has also been brought about because other countries haven't provided the necessary data. Is that correct? Well,
we certainly have an issue here where Scotland has been fully cooperating and providing catch data and indeed working from the ground up in devising new ways of reducing discards and so on, and yet at the same time other member states have blatantly failed to provide catch data. So as a result of that, the Commission wants to take draconian action. That, of course, will hurt Scotland as much as anyone, and it's just another example of why the ultra-centralised decision-making processes of the CFP have been such a disaster.
And again, what's being said by the Scottish Fishermen's Federation is that this ignores the conservation efforts and the efforts to stop discards that Scotland's fishermen have actually put in place.
Well, if this was to be implemented as proposed by the Commission, inevitably it will cause the discarding of perfectly good fish which are already dead and just can't be landed under the rules. That is utterly ludicrous, and it's not something that we can accept while at the same time we hear the Commission claiming to want to do something to reduce discards. We have indeed examples of real-time initiatives in Scotland, devised in Scotland, that have radically cut discards. And that is why it's so important that decision-making in these matters is returned to Europe's fishing nations so that appropriate measures can be taken for each fishery.
So bad from a discards point of view. What about the financial impact on the Scottish fishing industry? I mean, we've said that, no fishing for cod in the west coast, other cuts in quotas. Will there be a financial impact?
Well, the fishing industry of Scotland and fishing communities are already hard pressed because of the restrictive nature of the Common Fisheries Policy and its impact over many years. What we had hoped would arise would be a glimmer of hope and some reward for the pain already inflicted. Instead, here we have yet again a set of proposals that will just inflict more pain. Of course, this is only the opening shot in a discussion, but it is ridiculous that year after year, and right now on the brink of CFP reform, we have this pantomime starting again in the same old way.
And just finally, I mean, the Commission's saying that, it's taking a science-based approach and this is what's needed to help the stocks recover and make fisheries sustainable in the long term. What would you say to that?
Well, I think throwing dead fish over the side of the boat is doing nothing to preserve stock, and implementing a set of proposals which would actually cause the discarding of perfectly edible, economically sellable fish is simply madness that will do nothing for conservation and even less for the credibility of the European Commission and the whole CFP decision-making framework.